Graham Jason Matthews, WrestleRant Radio here today. We're talking to the man behind Monster Factory, debuting on Apple TV, coming up on Apple Plus TV this Friday, March 17th. Danny, what's going on? Thanks for taking the time, dude.
Busy day, man. I'm just amped up for the debut of Monster Factory on Apple TV Plus, and like I've been telling everybody, I still can't believe it's real. It just doesn't feel real. It just doesn't.
Do you think you'd ever get to a point where you'd be doing a round of interviews talking about your school as opposed to actually being in the school doing the work and stuff?
Uh, I always envisioned something like this
Yeah.
happening, but like it's still, it's kind of like when I talk to the students that wind up getting signed. I'm like, "How's it feel? How's it feel?" And they're like, "It hasn't sunk in." And I'm like, "Oh, come on, come on." But like now I feel that like it still isn't real to me.
And we're gonna be the cool thing about it too is that it's on. You mentioned Apple TV Plus. I mean, this is a pretty big platform. It's not just a wrestling documentary because we've seen a lot of wrestling documentaries and a lot of behind the scenes stuff on YouTube and indie documentaries. This is a pretty big platform, so not just for wrestling fans to check out, but I think this can appeal to a lot of non-wrestling fans as well. Would you agree?
Yeah, this is why I'm so glad that like all this found its each other. Like everybody, I've been telling everybody this started like back in 2016. It was before Apple TV Plus was even a thing, and
Yep.
we were just going along with this. So like this is, I don't think anybody else would have handled it the way they did, the way Public Record did, Vox Media did, and Apple TV Plus. Like everybody was on board. I didn't have to argue with anybody. I didn't really have to fight with anybody. We all got along. There was no drama. And this is the way wrestling should be presented if they're going to do something like this. It's, I tell everybody, if I was making one, this is exactly how I would have made it. And I can't, I'm still can't believe it's happening. I can't.
And when you have the cameras and they're rolling, filming the kids, filming the students, there's a lot of great footage in here. And just from seeing the trailer and just all the stuff that I've seen so far about it, everything about the show, we're going to get that inside look as far as what it takes to get to that next level, a WWE or an AEW. That's the general premise of what the show is about. Does it get to the kids? Like when they have the cameras and they're rolling, when you're filming the show, you got the cameras in there. They know they're going to be an Apple TV Plus possibly. Did they kind of let that fame get to their head? What was that experience like for you as their trainer?
No, it was actually the exact opposite.
Really?
Yeah. Well, number one, like from day one when I started the school, we've always been business as usual, no matter what cameras around, no matter what. We're going to be ourselves. If I have an issue with you, whether I'm congratulating you or I'm yelling at you, it's always going to be in front of everybody, because this way, the praise I'm giving you can help others and motivate them. I yell at you for something you did wrong. I'd rather tell you in front of everybody instead of taking you into private, because then I'm going to have 30 meetings to correct all these mistakes. So no, but what we did run into is me saying like, "Hey guys, we got like 6 months. Like everybody, just give it your all.
Mm-hmm.
Leave nothing out there." And we still had probably, besides the principal cast, maybe 5 or 6 people that really did everything they could, and everybody else still half-assed it. So, but our half-ass is better than their whole ass. This
Exactly.
is my way of looking at it.
No, that's
Like
a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
my standards are very high for our students.
Do you feel like when you have the cameras and they're filming for the show, that actually is good learning experience when they get to like a WWE or an AEW? A lot of schools obviously are not going to have that aspect. That's like obviously an unexpected obstacle for them to overcome. Would you agree with that as well?
We literally, since I started, we would have, if somebody was hurt or injured or not feeling good,
Yeah.
we'd hand them a camera. They'd walk around and record footage and get B-roll of training and stuff. So like it was second nature to them. Plus,
Okay.
for years we started doing it because we were in hopes of getting one. So I
Mhm.
I want them to not be looking into the camera. I wanted it to be, I always tell them, repetition breeds habit. So if we do this enough, it'll be second nature to you, and it worked out.
No, that's a great way of looking at it. It's great to be prepared for a possibility of something like this happening. Like you said, being in the work since 2016, and the timing of it works out perfectly too. You see it in the trailer, people are going to see it in the show. Amelia, obviously Notorious Mimi, being signed by WWE for a short period of time. Was the timing of that just work? How did that work out as far as like the
Well,
timing of her getting signed?
here's the thing. So when I got the green light on this was
Yeah.
July 31st. Five minutes before Apple called me, we had news that one of our other wrestlers was just signed, Felix Fernandez. He's a referee still down there.
Wow, that's awesome.
So he was signed 7/31. Then Mimi got her tryout like right when we started taping.
Yeah.
So it was just like bang bang. That's why it was like we got hit with 2 students leaving immediately when the show started. So it was wild, man. It was like you couldn't ask for more. I mean, it was exactly like in a way that we're just like, man, I wish she would have got the tryout afterwards. I'm like, who cares, man? Like this is wrestling, man.
Yeah.
This is wrestling.
No, it just works out perfectly with the timing of the documentary to have a notable name that people are going to remember as well. You mentioned the referee Felix, and you have Amelia as part of this as well. What other aspects of the documentary you feel like are really going to drive home that people should check this out? Obviously, the easy access on Apple TV, but just other aspects of it as well. Because, like I said, we've seen so many wrestling documentaries. I feel like this one's going to really stand out, though.
It's going to stand out because it's about wrestling, but it's not about wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I point to this shirt. This is not about soccer.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But soccer fans will like it. Soccer
Mm-hmm.
fans will understand it. Same with pro wrestling fans are going to like it, love, and understand this. But just Joe Schmo down the street who's never watched wrestling before will fall in love with the show, will cry, will laugh, will get angry, everything. I watched it the other day and with my wife again, and we still cried. You know what I mean? It was, you'll see once the show, you see it, why I needed this show. Because I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't have went through what I went through without this show.
Wow,
So
amazing.
you'll
Well,
you'll see what goes on. It
talk about
was
Ted. Sorry, go ahead.
that. Now it's like one, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I just don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, no, you can't spoil anything. It's going to be
No,
coming out on Friday. People don't have to wait too much longer to check it out, but it's a big week too. The timing of this works out amazingly well. Show premieres Friday. Ted Lasso comes out next season on Wednesday. That's an amazing coincidence for you. That works out
well,
perfectly.
and here's the other thing. During the filming of this, people kept saying like, "Hey, did you watch Ted Lasso yet?" And all the people, and I'm like, "No, I haven't. Like, I
Yeah.
don't have time." And we just watched it for the first time probably 3 weeks ago, and
Wow.
we're already watching. We've already watched it a second time, and now
Mhm.
we're on our third watching the last episode again tonight, going into Wednesday for the debut of season 3, which I heard is going to be the last season, which breaks my heart.
I know. I only first started watching the show a couple of months ago myself. So to have the last season, it's hard because it is such a good show, but I feel like you got that show on Wednesday for people to check out Ted Lasso. You got Monster Factory on Friday. It's like a whole week of great content
Yep.
on Apple TV. So you're going to be capping off the week perfectly. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, you just kind of mentioned it a little while ago, but as far as what people are going to be seeing from the show, why to look forward to it, any other stars that we've seen on the show or maybe not seen on the show that you feel, again, maybe without giving too much away, that you
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
are
sure.
closest
Like,
to that next level?
well, some of the graduates and some of the like QT Marshall,
Yeah.
me and him trained together, and then he was one of my coaches. And now he comes on and talks to some of the students and gets to get in the ring and work with them. Preston Vance is there. Steve Macklin, one of the first students I got signed, was there. So it's like, there's a lot of people showing up, and it's a fun time. Kevin Kelly's on there,
Yep.
as you can see in the trailer. But it's D'Lo, Headbangers. I mean, there's just all these people that are Monster Factory graduates. But yeah, I think it's going to be one of those shows that is going to change wrestling for the better. I think a lot of people are going to latch on and be like, "Hey, you got to see this," because it's one of those things like where sometimes your friends that aren't into wrestling,
Yep.
you're like, "Hey, watch this," and it's like, and they're like, you're kind of embarrassed by it because like they're just going to go, "It's phony bullcrap."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But this is one of those things where like the casual fan of documentaries and just journeys and stuff like that are going to love it. And I'm going to say journey a million times, but that's the only words I can use to describe it. I mean, to see these kids, who started with me at age 14 and 17 and, growing up and doing all this stuff, it's just amazing to see. My thing is, I want to see what everybody thinks about individual students and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, I know I'm going to get my shrapnel, and people are going to either love me or hate me, or
Yeah.
there's no indifferent with me ever. But I'm just so proud of the students, because like some of them were like, well, I kind of came off this way. And I'm like, no, you came off awesome. Like, these five are the story. Like, none of this is possible without them. Like, I'm just so proud of them, honestly. And it's not just bull crap, because this is stuff I'll text them all the time. And that's
Yeah.
what's great about the show. There's nothing made up about this show. It's not looking for drama and stuff like that. It's just real. Everything that happens in the show is real. We're just putting it out there, and the cameras are just there to catch it.
And that's the key. I'm looking forward to watching. I'm looking forward to some non-wrestling friends of mine watching it as well, because I think they'll enjoy it as much as I will, if not more, kind of being outside of the wrestling bubble.
Yep.
That's the key I'm looking forward to. But like I said, dropping this Friday, Apple TV Plus. It's going to be the first season of Monster Factor. I'm looking forward to it, Danny. Thanks so much for taking the time, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.